There's a reason Xbox's takeover is actually much more apparent, and that's because number one, my fellow PlayStation fans refuse to acknowledge the problem. You see, this video that I just made about pretty much Xbox being in this position where they are, that many of us saw coming, except for those who decided that they were going to close their eyes and close their ears and yell, la, 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 have decided and refused that, that this is not really something that is a big deal to them. In fact, they still come around and continue to still push back against PlayStation. I mean, I'm literally seeing it. Let's go ahead and look at a comment that I just saw recently from my last video where somebody said to me, I'm curious what, exclusives Xbox has. It's just kind of funny, though, because, again, I thought we were at the point where we were mentioning that apparently exclusivity is not as necessarily the thing that has kept PlayStation. It's pretty much third-party money hatting. And exclusivity for PlayStation has not necessarily been profitable. An audience member of mine said, yep, you keep mentioning this PS document. This is the one that I'm mentioning. This one here, ladies and gentlemen, look at it right here. It's one that the news wrote about. It leaked in 2023 when Insomniac got hacked. And from that leak, we saw some presentations that PlayStation had done. We saw some scenarios that they had put together. This is one out of many. There were a series of them. I mean, I would encourage you to go digging. You're going to find them. You're going to see PlayStation pretty much telling you about their current position, their challenges, and some of the moves they wanted to make. Their biggest challenge was they didn't have enough money. Like, literally, there was a slide where they went ahead and put some possible solutions together, and then they were like, but cost is, really out of reach or something like that. That one's even a whole different conversation in itself. If you see that one, I don't want to show it because it's a little sad. Like, I'm just going to stick with this one that's in Jess Gordon's article because I'm showing something that's been publicly published, not just by him, but other people in the media. This is where PlayStation themselves said Microsoft's comprehensive ecosystem coupled with exclusivity creates greater dominance. So pretty much their ecosystem is already dominant. Then they're worried that if they coupled it with Call of Duty's exclusivity, it was going to create another layer of dominance, which is greater dominance. They've already beaten PlayStation. That's why PlayStation said here Sony's pillars are already dated and behind the competition. That's why they said with Activision, pretty much, it positions them to leapfrog their current pillars because of Activision's strategic value. PlayStation, had been depending on Activision, even on the third-party side. Xbox now owning it was the end game. And they said, I'm curious what exclusivity does Xbox have. Not only are Activision games not exclusive, but Bethesda is going multiplayer as well. Have you not woken up to the 2024 market that exclusivity is dead? Let me read this comment for you with boldness. It's only a matter of time before games like Mario, oh yes, Zelda, become ported as well to PC. I said this in my last video that I was going to make some speculative statements. You're speculating because they've said that they're going to bring Halo and Forza, and that was tongue-in-cheek, guys, on a case-by-case basis. And even if they bring them to PlayStation, I couldn't be bothered. I've said my mind that because Microsoft is a software company, you can expect that some surprises may come. Now, if they decide to still keep those games on Xbox, they're doing fine on Xbox. Have you even imagined what Gears of War is going to do to PlayStation? When the OG Gears of War from those kids who were playing Gears back in 07, 08 and were having a blast in their college dorms and were basically, enamored by this shooter that they just could not put down. Whenever they put Call of Duty down, it was that game. The excitement alone you've seen for Call of Duty going back to Xbox is just a certain layer of excitement of people seeing it. And I think you're just you're miscalculating again. And it's called downplaying. But I used to call it downplaying. You're miscalculating. You're not reading the room. This is why Xbox's dominance is apparent to everyone more than necessary. Because if the PlayStation fans would just say, well, PlayStation has work to do, that's it. Because let me tell you what's going on. PlayStation is sitting between a rock and a hard place. Yeah. They have to make those exclusives, which are very expensive. And that's one thing you're not talking about. The exclusives that you say PlayStation has, they're eating into their profits. Not only that, they have to compete with third-party publishers to actually, sell their games. And not only are they competing with third-party publishers, they're competing with this third-party publisher Call of Duty. Yeah. Sorry, Xbox with its game Call of Duty. They're competing with this third-party publisher with its game Minecraft. You've seen it. This is not something that we need to be teaching over and over again. But, the reason I do this is because, again, my fellow PlayStation fans will come out here and put their blinders on purpose and pretend like nothing's happening. Dude, there's fire on the mountain, man. PlayStation House right now is on fire. They literally just closed down a studio that made them a live service game, something that they need to try to get into this whole competition with some footing. Look at the top played games on PlayStation. Look at the top played games on Xbox. Look at the top played game on PC. PlayStation is hardly even playing in this. If it wasn't for PC, Helldivers 2 would be dead in the water. They would have dropped it and moved on by now. And I'm certain seeing Call of Duty sales, we're going to see a different number when we get the next piece of player engagement ending in more recent weeks. I don't know if Matt Piscatella has posted it yet, but I just have this one on Twitter on my bookmarks. But every time you go to his page on LinkedIn, you're going to see the exact same thing. There's no cause, there's no reason for downplaying, but I think this is just something that my fellow PlayStation fans like to do. They make it sound like, oh, there's this, issue or whatever it is. In fact, somebody is going a tongue-in-cheek route there saying, yay, Microsoft made some, here's this one, this audience member of mine. I see what you're doing here. They said, OMG, they bought one of the most profitable, most popular games on the planet. Why is this big news? Call of Duty selling on PS5 and PC? Who would think it will happen? Yeah, Microsoft has pulled a $70 billion masterstroke. You weren't here even just recently, right before the game came out, October 18, 2024, when a games industry, the Biz article, wrote an opinion piece saying that Black Ops 6 is make or break for the Game Pass strategy. Pretty much downplaying this thing, again, miscalculating. We're going to now change it up and saying that at the end of the day, that PlayStation was going to get the more black ink on its financials compared to Xbox. Were you not here when they were saying this stuff? Were you not here when, even games industry analyst Michael Pachter, who had actually predicted properly that they were going to be able to close the Activision deal, somehow came up with this calculation that they were going to gain this much in subs but lose this much in sales, when his predictions now have shown that they were probably just him positing on the more, I would say conservative side, but he probably is wrong. Because when the numbers came out yesterday, we saw that Steam and PlayStation sales were up 60%. Do you even know what that means? That's crazy. Like, that's insane. If that trajectory stays that way, it's going to blow everything PlayStation could ever dream of out of the water. PlayStation will make money too, don't get me wrong. But that's exactly what business is. When the lion is making, is eating, others are able to enjoy something as well. That's what's going on. So again, downplay all you want, miscalculate all you want. This is very obvious for even the middle school, elementary school kids in some cases. I'm shocked to see adults that are commenting on YouTube channels doing this stuff, or adults that are writing articles do this stuff. It's not novel. Don't make it sound like anything. I mean, we knew it was coming. I mean, I think maybe you want to downplay the video, but I mean, again, we got dozens and dozens of videos pretty much showing that this is the attitude that PlayStation players are bringing to the table. They do not want to acknowledge the problem at hand. These games are freaking expensive to make. They take long to make them. The cost is killing PlayStation. It's insane. Not only is the cost killing PlayStation, PlayStation is trying to break out of this particular conundrum. And as it's trying to break out of the conundrum with its live service, it's failing at almost every end. It doesn't have a diverse live service offering. Xbox already does. It's already had a diverse offering even before it acquired Activision Blizzard King. Age of Empires, Sea of Thieves. Think about the games that it had within its reach, even under Bethesda now, with Elder Scrolls Online bringing in millions of dollars every month. That's a revenue stream that PlayStation is trying to capture. But what PlayStation fails to understand is you cannot capture that kind of market with exclusivity, and you continue to still Almost all of you. This is another audience member. Seriously, I have an Xbox. What games are people playing or buying? I can't find one to play other than Fight Night Champion. This whole gen is a bust for Xbox. You're asking again, what exclusives? You are one of those people who you base your games or your gaming on the most, in quote, hyped noised games. That's what it is. Games that they're using to make a lot of noise. None of you is talking about a game like Age of Empire, a 25-year-old franchise that is a sleeper, that's been bringing in money for many, many years, consistent revenue. None of you are talking about Sea of Thieves, which has been here for about 8 years, brought in so much revenue, went to PlayStation, and did better than Concord. An Xbox game right now is outselling, or at least out-existing, a PlayStation attempt at live service. You got to run the numbers. You really have to sit there and do it. You got to look at a comparison or do some comparative analysis, and you'll see exactly what's going on. The genius move was, Xbox making games and staying under cost so that it could maintain profitability. That was a genius move for numerous years. And that was the time y'all were shouting Xbox has no games. Remember, all that was, I think, deliberate. So, at the end of the day, miscalculate and downplay, it doesn't change anything. The reality is here. PlayStation themselves already know this. Maybe you should go tell them otherwise. Write PlayStation a letter and say, hey, stop the delusion. I'm curious to see how that letter is going to go. I am. But in front of us, things are not well. Things are not well. When a studio closes, when a publisher closes 2 studios simultaneously like that, after having, sunk hundreds of millions of dollars into a project in an attempt to pretty much try to size up to what the market is, things aren't well. They got work to do. And when already their next few games are already being judged and characterized already. Have you seen the fair games reception so far? There's almost no one that I've seen that's excited about that game. Trust me. It's strange. But we'll see how it turns out. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace out.